Hi, welcome to our channel Programming of Mind, where we accelerate your knowledge with concise, from high-value book summaries. Let's begin the art of avoiding arguments. How to win without fighting. One of the most overlooked yet impactful skills in influencing people is the ability to avoid arguments. Arguments are an easy way to create tension, damage relationships, and, at worst, burn bridges. While it may feel good to win an argument, the emotional cost of that victory can be much greater than the reward. When you engage in an argument, even if you win, the other person may leave feeling resentment, frustration, or embarrassment. Think about it. How many times have you walked away from an argument thinking, I may have won, but I don't feel good about it? That's the problem. In trying to prove a point, you lose sight of the bigger picture, maintaining a strong relationship. Real-life example. The dinner party debate. Take the example of Sarah and Tom, a couple invited to a dinner party by friends. During the evening, the conversation turned to politics, and Tom felt the urge to express his strong opinions. Before long, he was engaged in a heated debate with another guest, Mark, who had completely opposite views. The discussion became more personal, with each side raising their voices, defending their beliefs. Sarah, sitting quietly, watched as the tension built. She knew that Tom didn't want to win a political argument. He just wanted to express his thoughts. But she also understood that this wasn't the right setting for such an intense debate. At that moment, Sarah did something unexpected. She calmly interjected, Mark, you've made some interesting points, and I love how passionate you are about your beliefs. It's refreshing to hear different perspectives. She then turned to Tom. I know you feel strongly about this, but let's save it for another time when we can sit down and really talk through it. Tom, feeling the tension dissipate, agreed. The atmosphere of the dinner party lightened, and everyone continued enjoying the evening. No one won the debate, but everyone left feeling respected and heard. By choosing not to engage in a heated argument, Sarah had prevented a potential fallout and kept the focus on the positive aspects of the evening. This example illustrates a critical point. When you steer away from arguments, you maintain the emotional peace necessary for healthy relationships. You might not always change someone's mind, but you can create an environment where both sides feel respected. The impact of this silent treatment. If you're not careful, arguments can quickly escalate. What starts as a difference of opinion can spiral into an all-out battle, especially if one or both people have strong egos. But there's an even worse outcome: silence. Take the example of an office manager named Ellen, who worked with a colleague, Mark, who had a very different approach to their shared project. Instead of addressing the issue head-on, Ellen gave Mark the silent treatment. She didn't openly argue, but she also refused to communicate effectively with him. Over time, Mark grew frustrated. He didn't understand why she was withholding information, and it led to misunderstandings and inefficiencies at work. One day, Ellen's supervisor noticed the tension and asked her what was going on. When Ellen explained the situation, her supervisor gently pointed out that silence can often be worse than an argument. While silence may avoid conflict temporarily, it creates a rift in a relationship that's hard to repair. By withholding communication, Ellen was not only hurting her own productivity, but also the morale of the team. This situation demonstrates that avoiding conflict isn't always about silence. It's about maintaining open, respectful communication. Even when you disagree, it's crucial to keep the lines of dialogue open. If you avoid arguments but refuse to talk, the issue will fester and grow worse over time. The power of agreement. Finding common ground. If arguing is the art of pushing someone into a corner, then agreement is the art of pulling them toward the center. Agreeing with someone, even when you disagree, can often de-escalate a tense situation and lead to a more productive conversation. Take the story of a manager, Steve, who had a disagreement with one of his team members, Anna, about the direction of a marketing campaign. Rather than diving straight into defending his position, Steve started by saying, I can see why you would think that. You've made some valid points, and I appreciate your perspective. Anna was taken aback. She had expected him to argue, to push back. Instead, Steve opened the door to a more collaborative conversation. This approach didn't mean that Steve gave up his own position. It just meant that he showed Anna respect by acknowledging the value in her ideas. After that, the conversation flowed more smoothly, and they both agreed on a direction that incorporated both of their suggestions. By agreeing with Anna at the beginning, Steve lowered the emotional stakes of the conversation. Anna no longer felt like she was being attacked and was more open to hearing Steve's ideas. This technique doesn't mean giving in. It means showing understanding and empathy, which are often more powerful than winning an argument. The power of apology. Defusing conflict before it starts. Sometimes avoiding an argument means stepping up and taking responsibility, even when you don't feel at fault. Apologizing sincerely can prevent minor conflict from escalating into bigger issues. Take the example of a young woman named Claire who worked in customer service at a retail store. One day, a customer became upset because she couldn't find a specific product she wanted. Instead of defending her store's limited stock, Claire simply said, "I'm so sorry, we don't have that in stock right now. Let me check if we can order it for you." By apologizing for the inconvenience, Claire defused the situation. The customer left satisfied, not because they got what they wanted immediately, but because Claire acknowledged their frustration and took responsibility. In situations where conflict arises, owning up to your part, whether it's a small mistake or misunderstanding, can go a long way in maintaining peace. Even when you're not entirely to blame, offering an apology shows maturity and emotional intelligence. It shifts the conversation from blame to resolution, allowing both parties to move forward without holding onto resentment. The no trap. How to avoid triggering defensiveness when you immediately start a conversation with a no. You are setting up an adversarial tone. No can trigger defensiveness, and once that happens, it becomes harder to reach a compromise. Think about a time when someone immediately told you, "No, that's not possible," without even listening to your reasoning. Did that make you feel open to negotiation? Probably not. You might have even closed off entirely. Instead, consider starting with a yes or a question that shows you're willing to listen. For example, if someone suggests an idea you don't fully agree with, instead of shutting them down right away, try saying, "That's an interesting approach. Let's explore it together." By reframing the conversation in a more collaborative way, you keep the other person from becoming defensive and increase the chances of a productive discussion. Real-life example. The power of yes in negotiation. Imagine a business executive, James, who was in the middle of a negotiation with a potential client. The client presented a set of demands that James knew wouldn't be possible to fulfill. Instead of immediately rejecting the client's proposal, he said, "I see what you're looking for, and I understand the importance of these elements. Let's talk about how we can work together to meet some of your key needs while staying within our capabilities." This approach shifted the conversation from a confrontation into a collaboration. James didn't have to give in to all of the client's requests, but by acknowledging their concerns and offering alternatives, he kept the conversation going. The result? A successful negotiation without the need for an argument. Conclusion. Conflict is inevitable, but fighting is optional. Avoiding arguments doesn't mean avoiding conflict altogether. Disagreements are a natural part of life, and they can actually lead to growth if handled with care and respect. The key isn't how you navigate those conflicts. Instead of pushing against the other person, try pulling them closer by finding common ground, expressing agreement, and showing empathy. When you choose not to engage in unnecessary arguments, you build stronger relationships based on mutual respect. Whether in personal or professional life, the ability to avoid unnecessary conflict is a skill that will not only make you more likable, but will also help you maintain peace in every relationship you have. Thank you for listening, and please like the video and subscribe for more great upcoming content that will put you in top 1% people in the world.